Good morning. Hi to you. How are you? Wherever you are on this beautiful planet. Welcome to Mama Power. It's Thursday morning for you, 7:30 in the morning. A bit later on in the day for me because I'm here in the UK. Mama Power. Yes, we're unlocking our Mama Power. Get the words out. And more as these shows come out, I'm here to, help you, guide you, assist you with really tuning in to the truth of who you are and to allowing that to be free. We're setting ourselves free here. This is amazing. Can you feel it? And what a great place to be doing this here on New Thought Media Network, this platform. This vision of Reverend Robert Brzezinski to bring shows like this together so that you can be inspired to live a more fulfilled life using spiritual tools and practices that we know are absolutely amazing. And that is what Mama Power is all about. So if you're ready to delve in with me today, let's go. Let's begin here. I'm feeling right now to really talk about my story. And this isn't from a point of view of, oh, you've got to hear my story, because woven in with this are tools and gems for you, for each of us to understand the importance of bringing our story forwards to be that connector, if you like. That story is the connector between us and those that we are knowing are here seeking us, because we're here as top mamas with all of the gifts, all of the talents, all of the beauty that we have to offer. And we're online doing this, and there are a lot of people online. And so how do we show up? Well, I believe the way to show up is through our story. And what about 2019? We each have a dynamic tale to tell of our lives, how we navigated, how we got through, how we tuned into our inner resourcefulness, that resource. We had to be resourceful. We had to go to source. If you look at that word, we had to lean in on what is already here for us, the availability of this abundance that is here, that for so long we had all neglected and rejected on some level. And the story of our lives is the story that is that heart-to-heart magnetism between who we gel with and who we don't. And so we've got to be brave enough to share, because we're here to inspire and to allow people to see the beauty of who they are. And that's what I'm doing right now. So late in 2019, I had this incredible opportunity. Well, let's go back a little bit further. I always believed that motherhood would be this incredible experience of joy and bliss and kind of fairy tale, Little House on the Prairie. I just had this complete, story in my mind of what being a mother would actually feel like and be like. And 19 years ago, when I had my daughter, I landed down with a bump, and I realized then that, wow, that complete fairy tale that I had created in my mind of how it could be. Yes, it was true on so many levels, because when you're a child, you're just like, oh my gosh, this is an incredible experience. And also then there is the learning and the getting on with that person, this little person who grows into their own identity. And as we grow from that little person in society, so it was not an easy journey for me. And I was a lone mother and raised my daughter on my own for a long time. And so our relationship became fixed in the way that it was, with all of the pieces that made the relationship. And, that wasn't always easy. And for many times I was on my knees as a mother, not knowing where to turn, not knowing what to do, not knowing, what to do you know, when what do we do when our child is kind of, you know, going out, not coming home for days? It's all of this, you know, at the age of 13, 14. I'm not talking about the age of 6. But, you know, it's when they start to establish their independence and cut the cord. Then we are, you know, we're left with that. It's like our hearts are just like bleeding. My heart was like on the floor. How do I deal with all of this? And so many situations and examples of how I was always being pushed to grow as a person by being a mother. And it is an amazing experience for that. And I'm really not saying that those that don't have children are not growing fully, of course. And yet this is a deep opportunity as a parent to really open up and be available for spiritual practice. The thing with me was, though, that I was so deeply entrenched in my spiritual practice that I understood that there was another way. And, you know, I found myself through a labyrinth walk in 2012. I found myself, if you like, and that changed my life completely. And it also changed my relationship with my daughter in a way that that she couldn't quite absorb. And I understand that, you know, it wasn't easy for me to absorb it, let alone my daughter or anyone else that was around me at the time. The thing is, though, that I stood in my values, and this is the piece that is really important here that I want to be clear on. We have our set of values. There are the way that we live our lives. There are ethics, if you like, our moral ethics, our guidelines, our guideposts for our lives. And by having this set of values, we get the opportunity to rise up and live to the expectation of those values. They're almost like a mental equivalent, if you like, as Ernest Holmes would say. It's like having that mental equivalent of our values, of what we stand for, what it means for us in our lives. And so many times we will be kind of pushed to the edge. Do we really believe in those values? And are we really out picturing them and living up to them? Because it's not always easy, you know, to do that. We're given situations where we're having to, you know, I'm not sure if I can stay, you know, maybe I'll bend it a little bit and, you know, maybe I'll ignore that one. No. And this, I believe, is what I did for so long with my daughter, is that I didn't, or with myself, let me say that, she gave me that opportunity to really go deeper and to stay in my value at that point. And I didn't take that. I didn't have that opportunity to do that. I gave in to what I didn't believe in. And it was on one night in 2019 when we had an incredible emotional experience that was not a healthy communicative emotional experience. And as my daughter was 18 at the time and living with my parents, and I made the decision to stand in values, to stand in my mama power. I made that decision, and it was a decision that had kind of accumulated over a long time, but I kind of went to the brink with this situation and decided that was it. That was it. I wasn't going to allow myself to be manipulated anymore. And so we parted. Yes, we parted. And as we both parted from each other, I knew then, like, it was like, oh my God, where am I going to go? What am I going to do? Where the flipping hell am I going to go? And as I sat in the car with my 8 bags of possessions, because that was what I had, and I called Jason, and Jason was with me, and I was kind of like, well, where am I going? This was pre-COVID. And I stayed in a bed and breakfast that night, and then found an Airbnb at a really good price and managed to plonk myself there for 10 days, where I then scoured around and was offered a room with a friend. And, you know, it was just amazing how circumstances and situations came to me to show me that I was safe, because I was beside myself. I'd lost my daughter. I'd lost a sense of what I was doing, or where I was. I'd lost my home, and I was kind of just feeling like I was taking that leap. You know, when you take that leap and you're in that place of limbo, you're in the place of the unknown. Well, what happened over time was that I grew to love being in that place. There's a word for that place, and that word has lost it's not in my mind right now, but I grew to love being there, and I grew to make that my home, to be comfortable with the uncomfortable, to be certain with the uncertainty. It was kind of like that became my bedrock, because I knew in there was this amazing, infinite opportunity for growth. I did so much inner work, 2019, 20, so much healing. I met with mentors and my coaches and my spiritual coach and practitioners. I did so much work, and COVID came, and I continued to do the work. I continued to unravel the pieces of my life, of my beliefs, of the stories that I've been telling myself, just like I told myself that story of how motherhood would be. And it really wasn't, you know? And so I gave myself space in 2020 to completely wipe the slate clean of beliefs, of what my beliefs were, and to reset my values. And I'm inviting you to do this now. If you haven't already done this in 2020 through COVID, do it now. Because when you know your values and when you're clear on them, and by the way, I've put them all on my website, when you're clear on them, you then lift up to the expectation of how you are deciding and choosing for your life to be an out picture. And that is what is the connection between you and the people that you are bringing into your spirit-led business. So what happened was that in one day in 2020, when I was broke, right, penniless, and left the home that I was living in because I couldn't be there any longer, and I was with Jason, and we looked at each other with our, you know, I had my 8 bags, he had his 10 bags and a few musical instruments shoved in the boot, and we were like, where are we gonna go? So we did the sleeping in the car thing. And then the next day I woke up, you know, kind of akimbo on the front seat of the car, like, what? No, this is not happening. This is not happening anymore. And what happened was we made some phone calls, and an angel on the phone was there when we rang the local authorities to say, where can we go? And because COVID was there, you know, they didn't want people sleeping out, sleeping rough, sleeping on the streets. So we were put into a homeless shelter about an hour away from where we were. The funny thing is that we had driven in the car in the same direction as where this place was. And so we were half an hour away. And it was like Friday night, 5 o'clock, and the angel on the phone just managed to get us there within 20 minutes. It was all very incredibly synchronized, as Vicky would, you know, use that term, synchrodestiny. This was it. So we lived in this place, and it was not easy. It was not easy. It was heart-wrenching. It was not what I wanted, and it was not what Jason wanted. And yet we made it. We made it a place that we knew would be the springboard to release us from there. I did so much healing, so much clearing. I mean, the things that we were doing in that room to clear the space, to clear the energy. So many things came. A brand new bed came for us because I wanted a brand new bed. It was like, I need to sleep on my own bed. You know, all these kind of amazing things would happen, like a light bulb would go and suddenly somebody, a maintenance person would be knocking on the door saying, do you need a new light bulb? That was like, so all of this was happening in synchronicity, synchrodestiny. All of it was happening. And then one day we got a phone call from somebody in a department somewhere that we'd never met in the local authority say, you can leave now because we think you're amazing. What had we done? Well, we knew what we'd done. I knew what I had done internally, working with, you know, the divine, working with the processes that I use all of the time. And yet I was accelerating those processes within me. And so we left and we actually moved into another home, which is our own home with our own space, bang opposite the sea with palm trees. And it's like, okay, this stuff works. My relationship, the relationship with my daughter, you know, still is not what I would want it to be. And yet it is what it is. And we have space. We have space from each other to understand who we are and to work out our own stuff, the stuff that had been compounded in for so many years that we didn't get a chance to work on. And there was the guilt and the blame and the shame and all of it that, you know, we don't always deal with as mothers, especially if we're bringing up our child on our own. It's a very close-knit relationship there, a different kind of relationship to when there is another that is fully present as a parent. So the values that I set and the values that I stuck to unfolded for me as experiences now that I am just, it's, you know, amazing things are happening. I'm not saying amazing things are happening, you know, like, oh my gosh, my life is so amazing, I'm showing off here. No way. You know, I'm still doing the work, of course. I devote my time. I give myself space every day, every evening, every afternoon to go and do this work. And I do not sidetrack it because I know sidetracking it, it just mounds up and piles up and we stuff it away and pretend it isn't happening, thinking that one day everything's going to be okay. And of course it is all okay because the divine always has us to some degree, to the degree that we choose to allow that to be. So what are you doing? You know, this is what I'm saying. I got to rock bottom. I was at rock bottom and I had to go within because there was nowhere else for me to go. First of all, there was COVID. We were locked in. Second of all, financially, I was like, you know, bankrupt. And third of all, there was nowhere for me to actually, every time I wanted to go anywhere, I was led back within. It's like that labyrinth, you know, when I walked that labyrinth in 2012, you go round and you go round and you go in and you go out and you're coming closer to the heart and further away. And, you know, and then finally you're there, you're landed in, and there's nowhere else to go because the in is the out and we've got to find that place within us. And I know you can find that place within you. I absolutely know that you can. You know, whether you're new to spiritual practice or whether it's something you've been doing for a long time, we get stuck, we get stagnant in the practices that we do, and we get oblivious. We think maybe, you know, oh, we're good at that. We've done this, we've done that. No need to go back. No need to try it again. The heartache and the pain that I went through, and on some degree I still am, it pushed me to creating Unlock Your Mama Power. It pushed me to wanting to say, I've got through this now, and I want to share this with others and show others how they can get through this so that they can lead their vision into reality. Because often we put our dreams aside. We shelve ourselves, put ourselves on the shelf because we don't believe that we deserve to actually do all that we can or that anyone will accept us. Write out your story, because I know it's very vital, and I know that it will absolutely land in people's hearts. 21. We're fine for time. Write out your story. Get clear on your values. And I was saying this last night in my group. Be clear with who you are and what you've been through. You are the expert already in what you're doing. You are the expert. You know, you're ready. You're ready to share your story and to share and to help others with what you've been through. So for me, it's about resilience and resourcefulness. Even when I thought I had nothing, you know, to have that relationship of your heart absolutely crushed, to have that knowing that I had lost or was becoming so detached from my daughter. It's like I'm on my knees, you know, I was on my knees, and yet the resourcefulness and the resilience that comes when we make a decision that there is something else happening here, and we make a decision to happening and to allow things to unfold in their natural way, in that organic way. God is always behind this, the divine, this foundation is always here supporting us. We can't always feel it and we don't always know it because we think what we're going through is the end of the world. And it isn't. It's the end of that story. Let's create a new one. So I'm urging you to write out your story, your intention, your power story of what it is that's brought you to this place, so that you can share this with others and they can illuminate themselves. You know, let's get everyone writing out and sharing their stories from 2019 2020, because it was a powerful time, and we're here ready to stand up and share as the leaders that we are, as the leader that you are, as that edge walker that you are. You're ready now to share it out. One of the things that I used as a practice that we were very aware of, and we use as a deep practice, is gratitude. That I would say is the one that of those things that gratitude turned every gnarly, nasty experience into an outlook of, oh, okay, I might not like this, and yet within this there is this, and this I'm really grateful for. And so let's micromanage our gratitude and appreciation for life. Let's there be the micromanagers, you know, of what we're grateful for. I might not be grateful for something because I don't like it, and yet that something could be supporting me for my life, for my day, in that particular moment, for what I need. So I'm grateful for it, and I know that as and when that thing will be replaced, because that's the nature of reality, that we are living in an atmosphere of recreation. In every single moment, the new is coming through. So gratitude. Look for the things around you right now. You can find 100 things just sitting there, just sitting here. We can feel the gratitude for the chair. And if you're not on the chair, you're on the floor. And if you're not on the floor, you may be on the pavement. It's okay though, because we're grateful for that pavement, for that floor, for that chair, for whatever right now. We're grateful that our heart is beating and that we're breathing and that we're thinking and that we can express our feelings. We're grateful for the light. We're grateful for the computer, for the technology. You know, there's so many things. I don't have to tell you. You know it all for yourself. And yet we sidestep these things. We take them for granted. Micromanage your gratitude. Get clear on the story of who you are and why you're here. Connect with those people. Tell them your story and get clear on your values. What are your values? Stand in your values, because when you do that, yeah, there'll be a tsunami. You know, everything will change and shake, and you will be standing firm in your values, in what you believe in what you stand for, in how you live, in what you mean. And you mean what you say, and you say what you mean. And this is standing and unlocking your mama power. Whew. Friday, here with Laura on New Thought Media Network. Check me out, lauratopper.com. Like my YouTube channel. Like this YouTube channel here. Let me get this up here because I created this, because I love creating all these little things. Where am I going to take me out so you can and similar information to come through and into your consciousness, because that's what we're doing here. That's what I'm doing. I'm unlocking, giving you the tools to unlock and open up your awareness to what truly is available right now. This is so powerful and so exciting. So that is it for today, and I will be back tomorrow with the lecture series on New Thought Media Network. So check that out, and I will be back next week with the shows and broadcasts that I bring to you from New Thought Media Network. Love and blessings to you, and I know that you are putting all of this into practice. The greatest gift that you give yourself after this video is to sit down, write out your story, and write out your values, and look for 50 things right now that you are grateful for. That's me for today. Love and blessings.